Everybody, welcome back to another episode of FSide DFS Fantasy NASCAR Picks. I'm your host, Mike Rower 31. Must apologize. I am trying to record this on Saturday night. It is 4th of July weekend, and the neighbors are setting off fireworks. So if you hear some pauses or explosions, do apologize. So hope you are having a safe 4th of July. So got the Chicago street race. So Xfinity did the speculation video. Actually was super excited because when qualifying came out, 5 out of the top 6 guys I had correctly from my model, including the pole winner and the second place car. I had both Creed and Custer. Marks thought, he qualified well, did well, have him listed as a prime play. Race starts, Marks blows the engine. Custer did lead most of the way. My favorite value play runs into a wall, and then there's lightning, game over, and then hopefully they'll resume tomorrow. But it was just an absolute mess. The race started earlier. DK didn't lock. Some people tried to adjust lineups. Some people put in new lineups after the race had started, and they got canceled. And I don't know what DK is going to do with it, but what a mess. Hopefully this Cup race is better than that. It's going to be wet tomorrow morning, and hopefully by the nighttime, it looks like they moved the night race up a little bit, try to get in before like darkness and not night race, the Cup race. So let's see what time they have it for. They have it listed as 5 p.m. Let's see what DK has the lock time for. Hopefully they can get that lined up. So just be conscious of that. 5:03. Okay, so we're close there. But anyways, let's get into this. So we do have practice, we do have qualifying. I have looked at the last 6 road courses. We've had 2 this year for Sonoma and Coda, and then Watkins Glen, Indy, Charlotte, which I think the track ones are kind of similar, and then Road America. The one thing I did make an error on the Xfinity video, I did say that I thought it was a flat track, but there are some hills on these streets here, so there is an incline and a decline. So and the walls are very, very hard. So I'll jump right into it and give you my thoughts here. So Denny Hamlin has the pole. This isn't super surprising. Like, Denny hasn't been the greatest road course driver, but during COVID, he did have a couple poles, because I remember, I think it was like either Indy or Charlotte or one of the new road courses, like he had the pole. Because I remember I've mentioned another video that he put out on Twitter that I apologize for all the guys following me into turn 1, because the Xfinity race or truck race that was also there was, I think it was the Gold Bowling or whatever, wherever that one, they were like driving through the corner and like all fanning out, and like the first 12 cars went the wrong direction, and then like all the now the 13th place cars in the lead, and everybody else is scrambling trying to get back on the track. But it wasn't bad like that here. And actually the Xfinity race, it seemed pretty clean at the start. It looked like the guy that's in the control here, and the way that we did the restart zone, is really going to be able to drop the hammer and take off and pretty much get away. So I think Hamlin could get out and probably lead a bunch of laps early. And again, like I said in the Xfinity video, I think it's going to come down to pit strategy. And I don't think you're going to see a ton of passing on the track. I think it's going to be with when they pit and how well they do on pit road. So Hamlin and Reddick was, he's really coming along. Oh, here we go, the fireworks again. So, Sonoma, he wasn't great, but the other road courses, he's been pretty good. So 8th in practice speed. So between the two of these, I think, I probably either one of them, but you're saving like 20. Like, the price on Hamlin is great. And again, if he goes out there and leads a bunch of laps, but then if he falls down, anybody that's starting up here is always going to be at risk. But if Custer has led from like flag to flag so far in this race in Xfinity, and I didn't see too much challenge. Now later on, with pit strategy and stuff, and this is 100 laps, and that was only 55 laps. So there's a bunch of opportunity for them to go backwards, but potentially if nobody can move anywhere, kind of like the North Wilkesboro race where like Larson got out there and just like led the rest of the race, then we'll have to see. Shane Van Gilsenberg, SVG here, in this Trackhouse car, came out and he did really well. It's the fastest practice speed. And this is what they wanted. With this 91, they wanted to bring in diverse foreign drivers and come in and be able to do really well in the Cup Series and get a chance to race in some different selected Cup races. And he did really well in qualifying. He did really well in practice. The only thing that worries me is I forget who it was, and it might have been Jenson Button in a previous race that he ran in the a Cup Series, or I can't remember if it was truckers, but you had some guys that ran like Formula One or in a different open wheel series, and they were really, really good drivers. And they came in and they didn't realize how much that guys bump you and run into you. Like you can't do that in open wheel, because if you kind of touch, like the cars are just going to go shooting off, parts are going to fly and everything like that. These Cup cars are like, we call them like the little Tonka trucks. They're like very forgiving with these composite bodies. So there's a lot of banging and bumping, and some of these open wheel guys are not used to that style of driving, and it frustrates them and actually gets in their heads, and it's actually has, I think, really hindered some of their performances. So I hope SVG does really well. It'd be great to see him, to get a top 5, maybe lead some laps, maybe win the race. But I just got to put him as GPP because I want to see how he does in actual full race with the banging and with the style of the Cup cars. Like it's easy to go out there and practice, and easy to go out there and qualifying, but in the heat of the race, when the cars are running into you, people are using their bumper and stuff, how is he going to react? Christopher Bell, I'm going to list him as my prime play here. I don't know. Everything, looking at the data, I have him ranked second. I have him finishing third. I really think he can win this race. He has looked good, and he's really improved. He's done really well in this package on road courses and this new car. So I think he's going to be highly owned, and I think I'm going to make him my prime play. I'm going to let you pick if you want to have Hamlin or Reddick to start your lineup, but I want Bell there. Suarez, he's showed speed also, but in practice, he was barely outside the top 10. I didn't look good at Sonoma, but the rest of the ones he's been good, but he's had some other duds too, like Charlotte last year. So the up and down, just give me a GPP for him. And again, it's really hard. Like if starting in the top 5 here, if he doesn't end up in the top 5, like he could really free fall and, really crush your day there. McDowell, I think, again, this is a little bit more risky. I think I'm going to keep him in cash because he seemed to be one in road courses that can hang up in the top 10 if he starts in the top 10. I don't worry as much about him falling back. I've seen Suarez have some incidents at pit road. I've seen McDowell be pretty, he might have a speeding penalty here and there, but I think he'll be pretty solid here. Just looking at the numbers, I feel a little bit better about him, so I'm going to give him the cash. Kyle Larson, Hendrick's cars just looked lost. He was one that didn't actually run into something there, but it was a bad experience for them out there. So again, I can't pay this. He's the highest priced driver. If he beats me, he beats me. I might have a share or so in a GPP. Didn't look horrible practice, but I can't do it. I'd rather spend my money elsewhere. If Kyle Larson wins the race, if he beats me, that's perfectly fine. But I just really don't want to pay 10-6 for him. Jettison Button is another road course ringer. He's in a Rick Ware car, and I put it in yellow just to remind me that I think it has Stewart-Haas backing for this car, so it's probably like has the Rick Ware paint scheme and number and name on it. But I think Stewart-Haas prepared the car, but the Stewart-Haas cars really didn't look great in practice in here, and Ford's have been slow overall. So GPP for me, I don't think I'm going to be super interested. I like the price, but I just, again, think he could fall too far down. 68 is a lot less risk than some of the other pricing up here, and I'll definitely play him in some GPPs, but I can't do him in cash. I'm fading Joey Logano. I know there's a narrative out there. I've seen it in so many articles that Joey Logano is the king of the new track and the new experience. Like he won, I know he won the first Clash, and he's won a couple other things, but this is just not his style of racing. He's been bad on road courses, and that's why he doesn't have the baby blue. Sorry if you haven't watched the video before. The brown ones are road course ringers. They're guys that aren't normally part of the Cup Series that are brought in to race on road courses. And the blues are people that are better than average on road courses. So he is not any of these things. 23 in practice. Like he put down a good qualifying lap, but I'm not I'm out on him. AJ Allmendinger is usually a really solid road course driver, but this is a street. It's not like necessarily the same as a road course, and he didn't really impress me in practice. I think he can get it adjusted and put it back together. I think he'll be highly owned, and I think he's the first one I'm going to start my GPP on, but I don't know if I really want to play him here in the road course at 99. I think his price is jacked too far up. I think pricing's why I have more as a GPP than anything else. Mark Truex Jr., I think he's gonna be chalky. He won Sonoma. He used to be super dominant. He and Chase Elliott used to be the kings of road courses, and then they got to a new car. It took some adjusting, but the Toyotas, and especially like the Gibbs and the 2311, most of them have looked really solid out there. And he was fourth in practice. He's got some place differential. I think if he doesn't screw up in the pits, which has been some of his nemesis sometimes, I think they can get him out with a good strategy, and I think that he can do pretty well. I'm willing to pay the 10-4 for him, not the 10-6 for Larson. So if I am paying up, I think he'd be my choice. I think I might even prefer him over Reddick, because I think he's more of has more floor there. I think Reddick might have more upside to lead laps, but Truex has like a little bit of place differential, and he could even lead laps and win this race. Ty Gibbs, I think, could be very underrated here. Like, he's a very good road course driver. He in Xfinity he was, and in Cup he's learned a lot. I mean, Watkins Glen was a disaster last year kind of for him, but other than that, 13th overall running position in Sonoma, 18th in Coda, ranked 9th overall out of all these drivers, 9th in practice. So I really think that he's got a lot of upside. Love the price here. I think he can finish in the top 10, keep it clean, and have a good day. So really like him. Bowman was probably the best out of the Hendrick cars here. I know he was 27th in practice, but I think he did better than that. Really look at Coda. Sonoma was okay. You know, he's had challenges here and there. He missed Charlotte Road last year, I think, is when he was out with a concussion. Or maybe it was some other reason, I can't remember. But you know, 24th overall. So I think he's GPP here. He's getting better. He's almost to the blue stage, and maybe if he has a good one here for the next road course, I'll put him in blue. But I don't think he's quite there yet. So he's GPP. Bubba Wallace is not a good road course driver. That's why he's 6,900. Pack him away, bring him out next week. He was 25th in practice, didn't look good in Coda. Sonoma struggled. Watkins Glen last year was bad, and you know, he did look. The only thing that I have going for him is if you look at his Indy numbers and his Charlotte road course numbers, he was much better in those, I believe. No, maybe just Indy. I'm looking at the wrong line. I think they're all going together here. So I'm out on Bubba. Enough said there. Chris Buescher is very underrated on road courses. He is sneaky good in the Roush Fenway car. So look good in Sonoma, decent at Coda. Watkins Glen, really good. Like, he top. And 4 of these races, he's had a top 10 average running position. His track average is probably one of the top 7 here. So I know his composite came back at 17th, but overall, I really like Chris Buescher, and I think I'll be playing him. Probably pricing No Man's Land at 8,500, but if you're doing go for a more balanced build, I think he's a perfect play and spot for you. Normally, like Briscoe in situations like this with the shifting and stuff on these courses, but he didn't look great. Again, I said, like, the Stewart Haas's, he probably looked the best out of the Stewart Haas cars, barring Harvick, who got into an accident. So I'm not going to completely cancel him out, but I think he's more of a GPP here. 22nd in practice, did a little bit better in qualifying. His composite average is like 22nd, so he might lose a couple spots, but GPP, I don't think I'll have a lot of ownership. Blaney, I really like the price here at 17. I know the Fords have been slow, but I think out of all of the Penske Fords, he's probably the best one here. Looked really good at the Indy road course last year. Hasn't looked good at Sonoma or Coda this year, but I'd gotta take some chance on him in cash. Like, the projection of him, almost like I look for like 4x, and he's at like 4.67. He's one of the I think he's like the 5th highest point per dollar play potentially here. So, and I like that he's going to have low ownership. So I'll definitely see if I can get him to cash lines. Again, 77 might be no man's land. I might be paying up for ones and then down in the 6 and 5K range to fill up my lineup. But if there's room for him in that price range, then I'll definitely look at that. Kyle Busch, I'll definitely play in GPPs. I never play him in cash. He's looked decent at the 2 road courses this year since he's switched over to Richard Childress from Gibbs last year. So I definitely have interest, especially at the starting position. I think you can get up in the top 15. Who knows if he's one that gets killed on pit road? That's another reason he's a GPP. So many speeding penalties and like other weird things that go on, losing places on pit road. But if his pit team is on and can nail it and call the right strategy for him, then he could get up there and definitely win the race. Corey LaJoe's a fade, staying way too far forward. Looked really good in practice, but when we put him around other cars in the road course, he really tends to struggle. So fade out for me, starting way too far forward. Kozlowski, I think he can play in cash. Like he was 10th in practice. He's starting 20th here. His numbers are improving. He's like 14th overall composite, which isn't bad. So I have him finishing 19th in my model here. So, I mean, not a ton of place differential, but if he can just kind of hold the line at 7,200, again, kind of price in no man's land, definitely like Blaney better for 500 more. But if you can't get up to Blaney, I think Keselowski's fine for you. Eric Jones has been fast and slow at road courses. Legacy Motorsports ever since like he and Jimmy Johnson, like the cars all broke down in the same race. They've been slow. I just don't trust it. I don't think he's really turned the corner, even though I've seen a little bit of improvement recently. So GPP for me, not interested. William Byron, here's an interesting play. Like he hit the wall, broke a toe link in his car, so he's probably going to have to go to the back of the field. That's why I have a yellow next to him to start. So he's probably going to start somewhere in the 30s, but he's going to be scored 22nd. So how long is it going to take him? Now, there's some really bad cars. There's some really good cars in the back of the field because of accidents, but there's some really bad cars back there. So 2 things could happen. He could easily cut through them and get back to where he belongs. We saw Brandon Jones, who started in the back of the field in Xfinity, climb his way up through the field. So I think that's definitely a possibility. But Brandon Jones had a bad starting position. He wasn't like he was trying to get back up to neutral and then go forward. So I think Byron's really risky here at the 94. I think he'll still have high ownership based on how his practice speed was and that he's William Byron, and he's been in great form this year and won multiple races. But I don't think he's going to get to the 4X that I need to pay off his salary. So GPP play, but with some upside, but not some playing cash. Gragson, like he really didn't run many qualifying laps. He kept on pulling back into pit road to get adjustments and stuff. So maybe they got down, maybe they figured it out. His practice time, I think, is deceiving here. Still coming back from the concussion a couple weeks ago. So 53 was a decent road course driver in Xfinity, but it really is still trying to find his way here, and this legacy car isn't anything great. So GPP to fade. Almirola is probably the slowest car in practice. He has the lowest projected score here. I'm completely out on him. Todd Gillian, I think, will be very chalky. I could put him as a prime play because he's 25th, which to me feels a little bit too far forward, but he has the highest point per dollar projection here at 28.07 and give you a 5.4 at 52. So I think he's definitely somebody you can put in your cash lineups, feel good about it as a punt play, probably be the most popular punt play. I have a meeting at ownership. That could potentially be high to chalk, but I'll have to see, before I post my final one, where I come out with that. But definitely should be popular. Chase Elliott, I think, will be super popular too, because people remember Chase Elliott was a great driver, but he did not look good here. Wrecked the car. It's going to go to the backup. He's going to have to go back and start in the back of the field. Also, he doesn't have a high mountain to climb. Like he's got 4 more place differential points that to get back to 26 instead of get up to 22nd. And with strategy and stuff, they could definitely figure things out, get out there and try to win the race. And he has to win a race to get into the playoffs. I don't think this is the race that he's going to win. I think, next week in Atlanta, it'd definitely be looking for him to try to win that race to get into the playoffs. So I hope he one of the guys in my GPP lineup, but I'm not playing him in cash here. Blicky's a fade. I know he trains people on road courses, but he's in BJ McLeod card. He's starting 20 seconds way too far forward and just looked abysmal in practice. Ryan Preece, again, Stuart Haas, not super interested. I liked him better than like Almirola. I like the starting position better than Briscoe, but I really want to call him a road course guy, even though he's tried to get some more practice in some other series and stuff. He couldn't do that here because none of the Cup guys are allowed in Xfinity. We didn't even have a ride last year, so in Cup Series. So GPP, not interested. Austin Dillon, how far have we fallen here? Austin Dillon is 5,900. Ryan Preece is more expensive than him. I was just looking at the pricing. Like Aaron Jones is more expensive. He's $200 more than Corey LaJoie. Like, what happened? This is the 3-car. This is the iconic Richard Childress 3-car with Austin Dillon driving in it. Ricky Stenhouse is more expensive than him. He's priced $100 more than Justin Haley. So what is that saying about Austin Dillon? First of all, I think he's way too cheap here. And again, I think Childress has been good on road courses here. He qualified bad. I think he pushed it too much. Maybe overdrove it a little bit, but he was 17th in practice. He's got a 19th overall composite average. So he could possibly get like 10 place differential points here. So I think he's a solid cash play, especially at 5,900. So really like him and Gillian if you want to start your cash lineups there. I'm not going to argue at all. Andrew Lally is a good road course driver, but it just hasn't really translated to NASCAR. He's in a Rick Ware car. I don't know if it's going to hold up and make it the whole race. So GPP to fade for me. Austin Cindric, 8,400. I think he's going to have high ownership just because he's starting so far down in their Cindric. And just remember how good a road course driver he was in Xfinity. He's almost about to lose his blue streak here for NASCAR because he just hasn't been good at all this season. Like he was better last season, but he's just in a sophomore slump here. So I'm out on him. I'm not going to be playing much of him. Harrison Burton, I never play. I put him as GPP just because he's starting so far down, and Wood Brothers' car is better than some of the other ones back here. But I think he'll find a way to get himself into a wall sooner or later. Ty Dillon's not a great road course guy. He's not horrible, but the Spire car is probably one of the worst ones in Cup, even though they're all supposed to be similar. Coda finished dead last, if I recall, and I tried to use him as a pump play because I think he started last. I figured there's nothing but upside, and I had nothing but disappointment there. And Sonoma, same thing, just really wasn't great. So GPP to fade here. Ross Chastain, this is going to be a super hard choice. I have as a GPP, so I think he and Elliott will be my first two guys in my GPP lineup, because there's so much upside here for his starting position, but he looked lost out there in practice, and like even in qualifying, like he was just, it wasn't that he like messed up the lap, he just did not have the speed, which is shocking because for Trackhouse, to have like SVG qualify and Daniel Suarez both to qualify in top 5, for him not to, when they miss something on the setup, and it's not like they can really go and tinker with the car. They've already gone through tech. It's pretty much an impound race. So once they come out there, like you're only going to have like a couple pit stops. And I don't think there's enough that they can do in pit stop to get this car to where it needs to be. So he's a super aggressive driver, which might bode well for him, or it might be super detrimental to him. So I don't want to play 9,600 to find out in cash. In GPP, I absolutely love the play. Again, I said my GPP lineup will start with Chase Elliott and Ross Chastain because of the upside there, but I just don't think they have the floor for cash. Okay, so now we come to the prime play, Kevin Harvick. Kevin Harvick is a very good road course driver. He crashed in practice. I think he's going to backup car, but I think he'll be perfectly fine there. With that, I think they'll get the car out, get it set up. He'll start in the back of the field, but he's already started in the back of the field. So, it's not a big deal at all. Might actually move up a couple places with all the other guys have to move to the back of the field. So see what happens with that. But Harvick he started low in road courses, and he's risen up like 10 place differential points. He's just a very patient driver that can pick off cars and find the right opportunity and just make it happen. He has an excellent pit crew who's going to get him positions on pit road. He's got a pit crew that will make not reckless calls, but make take calculated risks to try to get him advantage. And that's something that could potentially nail it here to make this happen. So really love Kevin Harvick. He is my second prime play. Stenhouse Jr.'s GPP didn't really look good out here. He wrecked in practice. Like, what can I say? It's Ricky Stenhouse Jr. He's got to win. He's playing with house money. He's probably locked into the playoffs unless there's something bizarre happens and a bunch of other people start winning a bunch of races this season. But I really don't think I can play him in cash here. But Justin Haley, I really like here. He had to make an adjustment because of an incident in qualifying or practice and wasn't allowed to qualify. So he didn't look bad in practice. He's been really improving in road course, spending time with AJ Allmendinger. So I think he's going to go no place but up here. Second highest point per dollar. So like I said, I think I'm going to start with Christopher Bell. I'm going to try to figure out who the other people are, but I'm giving you like three really solid fill-ins here for like cash for Gillian with Austin Dillon and Haley, Harvick and Bell. So there's like a nice core. I mean, that's five guys there. So I don't think I'm going to play that lineup, with whoever else fits in dollar wise. But, I'll probably, definitely my prime plays are going to be Bell, Harvick, and Haley. And then I'm going to see which other value fits in and then see with the rest of the salary how I'm going to finish out my line. Am I going to take like Truex and then a cheaper driver, or am I going to go balanced and take like a Blaney and or a Ty Gibbs, or maybe like a Michael McDowell, or even Denny Hamlin at 8K? So I think that's how it's going to play out strategy wise. I think I'm going to split cash probably 2 or 3 ways with different strategies. Definitely probably 2 ways. I'll probably have a Hamlin lineup and they'll probably have a Hamlin fade lineup. So I don't know if I can Hamlin and Truex in my core in the same lineup. I haven't tried to build that far yet. So, but that's what I got for you. So hopefully you all have a safe 4th of July weekend. Hopefully this race goes off without a hitch. It's a very enjoyable experience. I think NASCAR, is just a victim of circumstance here. I don't think it was lack of planning and an absolute disaster like some of the other races, like the first Bristol dirt race and some of the other races where they tried something and it was a gimmick and it just didn't work. I think, this is something that I was very skeptical about, but, after seeing some of it, I think that this could turn into a really cool concept. I don't want 100,000 of these races coming, to me, to a city near me soon. But, I think if they keep this or maybe go to different, maybe do like San Francisco or New York City or Tampa or a couple like street races over the course of the next few years, and just make it like one street race like around the 4th of July weekend and make it an annual tradition or something, that's perfectly cool. So if you have any questions, put them in the chat below, or you can hit me up at Regular Ruler 31. If you want more information on FSide DFS, if you want to get into our Discord and to get like the full package for NASCAR, for any other sports, go to the description of the video and the link to the website's there. You can go and sign up. And if these videos help you, please help us back. Like, subscribe to our channel so you know when our videos are coming out, and share with your friends. So appreciate everybody watching. Again, I hope you have a safe holiday weekend. Be sure to, check us out for baseball videos in the course of the week. And the other thing too is like we got some excellent PGA videos, and the person that puts them out does them as shorts. So like Wednesday in about 4 minutes you can watch the one video on the favorites for the week, and then the other one on like sleepers, and you can go and start to build PGA lines, and makes it really simple. No, we've got a couple months left in PGA, and I'll start talking about this more when it comes back around, but it's an easy thing to play for like achievements, just to try to get crowns and stuff, to try to move up to the next level on DK. So just keep that in consideration. So appreciate you watching this and all the other things you do to support the FSI YouTube channel and just help us grow. We're over 300 subscribers and continue to grow little by little each week. So thank you so much for all of that. Really appreciate it. So again, have a safe 4th of July weekend. Enjoy the race. Good luck in your contest, and I'll see you next week for Atlanta.